Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for In the Swamp with OGRE. Today's guest is Brooke Borg with the Borg Law Firm. How are you doing, Brooke?
Hi, I'm doing great. It's nice
Uh,
to connect.
yeah, finally, right? With everything going on, it's been hard.
Yes.
So, how are you doing with the kids at home and trying to keep up with your law practice and do everything you got to do?
Well, I have to admit, I am not the homeschool teacher. My husband, Matt, does most of that. He used to be a teacher, so it's awesome to live with an ex-teacher.
Nice.
As you know, he's now our office manager, but he's been thrown into the homeschool teacher position lately. But they're doing good. You know, they were doing Zoom meetings last week, and then they stopped doing that with CCSD because there was some interference, things like that, concerns. So they're not doing that now, but we try to get them to whenever they can. I have a younger one who's 9, a boy, Landon, and then my older daughter is 13. So she's probably bored like your kids are, bored out of her mind, spends too much time on her phone, but we try to do family stuff whenever we can, especially at night when we're done with.
And how are they? Because I know that Landon's super active with hockey and baseball,
Yes.
and Avery was doing dance and cheerleading.
Yes.
So how are you keeping them entertained and occupied during this whole thing?
Well, like I said, the older one kind of occupies herself with, she's been doing those, the TikTok challenges, and she tries to bring me in and do some of those. But her dance teacher sends her videos. And so they do, dance videos, and they do little combinations each week that she learns. So she keeps active with that. Wants to go out all the time, which is great because usually he's stuck inside on his gaming device, which he still does a lot of that. But we bought him a new bike. So my husband, Matt, bought him a Mongoose. I guess that was a
Not
bike.
Mongoose. That's the brand.
Yeah. So we bought him those, and he's been outside on his bike a lot. He rollerblades. We put up a batting net in the garage so he can practice his thing in the garage. So, just trying to come up with alternative ways that we never did things before. The kids really never were outside a lot because we were always busy with activities. But now we get them outside, and they're really enjoying it, and we are too. I think this whole thing has caused everyone to slow down a little bit, take a breath, and reconnect with family. And so if there's a blessing, I think it's that, for us at least.
Yeah, I know that we're finding that we're people that maybe we haven't connected to as much because life gets busy.
Right.
Like yourself, I usually see you at get-togethers and stuff like that. I
Right.
reached out to you to do this because we haven't connected. We haven't talked in a while.
Because you miss me so much.
Of course, I miss you. That's why. That's why I reached out to you. Now, I know a lot of our business, we have been able to adapt a little to this because we do have buyers from out of town and out of state. So we were used to talking to people on the phone and maybe doing FaceTime and stuff. But in your business is basically a face-to-face business where people have to come in and especially the type of law that you do, because you do estate planning and wills and trust and everything. And full disclosure, you do mine, so everybody knows. So I'm just curious, how's that change for you now?
It is, you're right. It is a face-to-face business, and we pride on ourselves in building relationships with our clients. So, when you come into our office, we sit down with you for about an hour and get to know your family and your goals with your wills and your trust and your estate planning. And we ask you various questions. And so a lot of our business is built on that face-to-face interaction, which has been very difficult, but we've been doing Zoom meetings with clients who are familiar and feel comfortable with the computer. We've been doing a lot of telephone calls. I'm on the phone all the time now, and just going over, the different estate planning documents we can prepare, what they do. If they already have documents set up, they scan them or fax them to the office. We go pick them up and grab them. So it's just a different way of doing business, but we're trying our best to still keep that personal connection with our clients because we feel that that's really what sets us apart from our competitors and really getting to know our clients. We're not just going to spit out an estate plan without really talking to them. So it's difficult. We have had a lot of clients who want to wait and come in and see us face to face. And, so, some of them we put on the calendar, we put them on originally in April, and now we're putting them back to May. And we just don't know how long we're going to be out. And we are considered an essential business, so we could be in there. But for the health of our employees and our clients, I just made that decision a month ago to we're going to calm everything down. We're going to do whatever we can do from home. And then once the documents are prepared for the clients, I'm giving them the option to either for us to send the documents to them so they can have them signed and notarized either with a mobile notary at their house or at their bank. Usually the bank will, or if they want to wait to come in. And I'd say probably 80% of our clients are choosing to wait till we're back in the office.
Right. I can imagine some people, especially a lot of the older people, want to be hands-on in front of you and have signatures, live signatures in front of you.
It's just changed day to day, Ed, too. So we don't know if we're going to be back in 2 weeks or we're going to be back in 2 months. So we're just keeping an eye on the situation, and it might come to the point where we are going to the people's houses and meeting them outside on their front porch and standing 6 feet away. And it's an ever changing situation. So we don't really know how it's going to go. But right now, we've been successful in communicating with our clients, just like you, keeping in touch with your clients, letting them know, hey, we're still open, we're still here, we care, and we're going to do the best we can for them.
Right. And I know that now, especially with all the fear going on with everything and the uncertainty and not knowing how many cases we're really going to get and who it really affects and what, I personally, you and I have talked about this a bunch of times, is I think everybody should at least have a consultation regarding building a will or trust, especially if they own properties, if they have kids, if they're a couple that are together but aren't married. I mean, people don't realize that, in 2017, when Mercy got in the hospital, we had the power of attorney. We had all the stuff that was built into the trust, made life easy for us.
Yes, especially if people are not married or have minor children, because the law does not protect people who aren't married. And that's a question I get a lot here is, well, we've been together for 30 years or we've lived together for 18 years. The law doesn't care. If you don't have that certificate that says you're married or you're domestic partners, they're not going to recognize it. If something happened and you didn't have an estate plan put in place, the law has a provision that says, okay, first it goes to your spouse. Have one. If you have spouse, then kids. If you don't have kids, then parents. If you don't have parents, then brothers and sisters. So the law will say where it goes. And we've had a few estates that have what we call eat to the state because there's no family to be found. And that's what people say is, I don't want the government to get my money.
Right. No, yeah, no.
So it's scary. Important to plan. And then also, it's hard to convince younger people to come in to do estate planning because when you're in your 20s and your 30s, you really don't have much as far as estate planning goes, as far as assets go, but you do have minor kids. And so if you want to name a guardian for those minor kids in case something happens to you and your spouse, that has to be in writing. And a lot of people don't realize that is, even if you're not doing it for assets and asset protection and avoidance of probate, do it for your kids so that there's a plan in place.
Right. No, I know that even some people don't even realize that part of what you do is you investigate, like if they own a home and there's two people in the home, how title's taken and stuff as part of what you do. Because I know that I found in our business a lot of times, a spouse passes or, a mother passes and she's on the loan with her daughter, but they don't have right of survivorship. They don't have all these things in place. So then half of it has to go to probate because the other half wasn't clear what the government wanted to do with it.
Yes. And so many times people will refinance their property. And then, if they had it in a trust to begin with, to refinance, you have to take it out of the trust. A lot of people don't take that final step in putting it back in the trust. I know you help your clients with that and make sure that they know that they're supposed to do that when they consult you. But a lot of people don't take that extra step, or they try to do things themselves. And so they might record a deed and say, oh, I can just get a form online and I'll do it and it'll be fine, or from the form store. And we end up fixing a lot of that. We urge people, don't do it yourself. Like, we will work with you on the cost if that's your concern, but don't do it yourself, because a lot of people think, they listen to their neighbor or their friend or somebody who did it before and they try to do it themselves. And just 1 or 2 words on that deed can make a huge difference as far as whether it's going to be subject to probate if something happens to you. And so I urge people, try to not do it yourselves, try to go to an attorney. And like you said, a lot of attorneys, they'll give free consults and just to talk to and guide you in the right direction.
Right. And that's I think important, is at least make a phone call, set an appointment, and at least know your options.
Yes.
Because the worst thing is getting caught, especially with the uncertainty we have now, that we don't know how long this is going to be. We don't know if and when the casinos are going to open up again and how that's going to affect everybody. Right. We really don't know who's walking around with this now that could give it to an older person or somebody that you care about. And if there's nothing in place, it it makes the whole situation even more difficult when you have
It
somebody
does.
sick and ill, and then there's now nothing you can do. You got to try to figure everything out at the same time.
Right. And I mean, just basic estate planning, something very simple like a will and a medical power of attorney. It's probably not going to do exactly what you want to do as far as in the, in the future, you can maybe do a trust and some others planning. But for right now, just to have a medical power of attorney in place to name somebody to make medical decisions for you, if you suddenly have to go in the hospital from all of this or anything else, it at least names your spouse to make medical decisions for you. Because that's the one thing that a lot of people don't understand is anyone over 18, even if you're married, needs to have a medical directive or a medical power of attorney in place to allow your spouse or your kid or somebody to talk to the doctors about your condition. If you have that in writing legally, the spouse is not allowed to get access to medical records, visit you in the hospital, make decisions regarding health care. So that's very important to get the word out there and let people know that.
Yeah, I like I said, I went through that in 2017. Luckily, we already had it in place, but I know firsthand that that's really important.
It is. It's so important.
I'm going to put your contact information on the link below so they can
Okay.
contact you. And if you have questions, if you have any concerns, if you need Brooke to look over a current trust or whatever, please contact her. She's great. She'll give you personal attention and give you the advice, the best advice she can. Brooke, thank you so much for catching up. It was great.
Thank you for having me. It was so good to see you.
Same
And
here.
let me know if I can do anything. Give my love to the family.
Same here. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.